Hi, my name is Sean Taylor with Up to Par Management, and we're going to talk about board dynamics, board relations, and this is part of Build a Great Club campaign series that we have. So today we get to talk about our customers, our clients, the people that engage with us all the time, and it's our boards, the boards that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, boards that we've dealt with in the past, boards that we currently deal with right now, and we're going to give you some of the best actions that boards do throughout their tenure, and maybe some of the not so desirable actions that you really don't want to see on your board. When you do, you gotta shift and pivot. So today it's really pointing out some of the best things that we have seen, the best performing boards and clubs, and how they act, how they work together, and then to a certain degree, how they work with the existing management team that's there. So first and foremost, what does a board do? Do you know? They provide, number one, they provide the strategic direction of the club. What does that mean? Really, boards want to give us the long-range plan, and that may vary. That may vary for a year, that may vary for 18 months, that may vary to two years. But the board's overall responsibility is the governance of the entire property, the governance of the club, the governance of the HOA, and making sure that management obviously is working within those governance, but that to a certain degree that they're providing that long-range strategic plan. For us, when a board says that we want to go to Y, that is fabulous. Then it's for us to figure out how to get to Y. It's which directions that we need to go with, and we work lockstep with the board. So we establish what's called OKRs, and those OKRs are objectives and key results. The objectives is how we're going to do it, and the key results are what we're actually doing and how we're actually measuring those objectives. So the board, number one role of the board is to provide the strategic direction for the club or the property. Management comes in and figures out how to get there. Management is the day-to-day operations. They're the grind of the club each and every day. The board provides that direction for us. Now, second best action of a board is it's unified with management. Okay, they're unified with management. They look at management as not as adversaries, but as partners in the direction and the performance of the club overall. Very, very important. Management and the board really have to be lockstep together. They got to be on the same page. They got to be rowing in the same direction. And when they do that, good things happen. When there is a board that and is constantly maybe not in tune with what's happening from the management side, or management that's not in tune with what's happening on the board side, not a good combination. A, nothing good happens out of that, and then B, the performance of the club as a whole really suffers greatly because of there's no unification between management and really and then also the board. So it's absolutely imperative that the board brings unique qualities to the club, and management brings unique qualities to the club. Completely different skill sets. More often than not, when boards are selected, there's great people that come on top of these boards, that join the boards. They've been successful in their professional career, they've been successful personally, and consequently they may not have run a restaurant or run a club or know what's going on in golf maintenance, and vice versa. Management is the experts within those particular fields, and collectively together they bring such unique perspectives that they really can forge that club in a new direction and really forge the performance of the club as a whole, which is absolutely imperative. Third part is the best boards that we have found really work extremely well together professionally. And what I mean by that is that you don't have 3 board members over here on one click, 4 board members over here on another click, 2 board members over here on another click, that each board member has an air of respect for their fellow board member, and consequently they can appreciate the differences that they all bring, because each board member to a certain degree brings a voice of a contingency within the membership or within the HOA, and it's their responsibility to be able to do what's right for the entire either homeowners association or the club as a whole. And those best boards really work well together and can appreciate each other. So there's an old story that Tom Brokaw, when he graduated from I believe in South Dakota, he graduated and he takes his first job there at NBC. That he comes out after a year working for NBC, and he said, I didn't realize that I would graduate and go back to 5th grade. And to a certain degree, when you join that board, you're joining as a unified member. Can't be a lone wolf. You're joining as a unified member of that board. And you can disagree all you want and have great conversation and great dialogue, but in the same token, you have to appreciate everybody's differences that are there. So there's no cliques. You know, there's no, as Tom Brokaw would say, there's no 5th grade on your board, and if there is, then you really have to address it immediately as maybe the president or the board itself. The fourth part of some of the best actions that we see at all of our boards, or at least the best performing clubs and the best boards that have done amazing things, and we've been on some fabulous boards that really have given us, not only us as the management company, great direction on where they want to go, and to a certain degree allowed us to operate within those guidelines and within those frameworks that they've established, is allowing for that conversation, to continually happen, and in the same token, us coming to a collective agreement on a certain issue or a certain challenge that is happening at the club. And then once we've come to that collective agreement, we've all backed it 100% out into the membership in the HOA, that a board member isn't being a lone wolf and undercutting the actions of the board out into the membership or out into the HOA as a whole. They may look at their role as exactly that, but in the end, what winds up happening is the amount of work that needs to be dedicated to move the club in a different direction, or to move the club in a more positive direction, is being delegated towards maybe this aspect of this one's board member's comments or one's board member's interactions throughout the club or property. So it's incredibly important that decisions, there's always going to be disagreement, and that's fine. That's healthy. That's encouraged. There's always going to be disagreement with it, and to a certain degree, it's the board's obligation and the board's responsibility, as well as the management's, to be able to put all the facts out there so that decisions can be made based upon facts and not hunches, not I think so's. That those decisions are based upon facts, because math doesn't lie. In the end, once we make those decisions at that particular level, everybody gets in and supports it as we go ahead and move forward. Other things, when a board is privy to a lot of very, very sensitive information, and I've seen this time or two, is that we've seen board members really talk about compensation of staff members. That's really just a big no-no among board etiquette, board behavior. To a certain degree, that is very confidential information, not only for the staff or the individual, but it's something that desperately does not need to be out within the membership, or the HOA that's there. So, the fifth aspect of great acting boards is they communicate. They communicate and they participate. Communicate and they participate. What I mean by that is they communicate the actions that are happening of the board that need to be communicated, and they communicate the actions of what management is doing throughout the club, throughout the HOA. If there's a certain issue, a certain challenge, they communicate the game plan, they communicate the activities, they communicate the involvement, they communicate the what we're doing out within the membership. To a certain degree, they negate a lot of the fake news that's out there within the membership itself. Many times we hear of things and we scratch our heads and we say, no one ever said that, no one ever implied that, no one ever expressed that. And so it's the board, the best boards are out there and they're communicating a very clear, concise message that is truthful. And on top of that, they're usually doing that in a format where they're participating. They're not only a board member, but they're a member. They're participating in the club's activities. They're participating in all the events that's there. It's so great to put in all of this effort into a particular activity, a particular event, and your entire board shows up. Not only are you going to get really good feedback from the activity or the event, but more importantly, the members that are coming are going to say, you know what, we saw the entire board there. That's just really good member relations. And to a certain degree, when you look at the membership of a whole, the relationship factor of the value of a membership is 3 times worth the annual or the monthly dues that are there. It's called relationships 3 cubed. And you as a board member, it is your obligation, it is your responsibility, not only just to show up to board meetings, but also participate. Participate in the events. We know that you can't be at every single one of them, but it's really highly encouraged to see you at most of them. Most of the events that are at the club. The club is a very social aspect of the community. It's a very social part of the boards. And so it's something and it's a great opportunity for you as a board member to get to know your board members, your fellow board members, even more than what you do. And that's part of the external benefits of being a board member, is to get to know everyone else that's around that table with you. And hopefully when people see, when a fellow members see you there, then you know what, that word will spread amongst the club, and participation will start to rise at all of the activities going down the road, and that's just good. That's good for the club, it's good for the board, and it's also good for the membership as well. The last thing, I'm going to go back up here. The last thing is questions. This is the things. Questions to learn. I look at some of our boards that we have, and I've developed phenomenal relationships with many of our board presidents and our board members, finance chairs, or many of our board members, and have looked as them more as mentors than as board members. And many of those board members view themselves as mentors because they just offer such great sage advice on how they have dealt with maybe similar situations in their particular field and how they have dealt with it, and what are those nuggets of of great information that we can pull out of there to be able to deal with the challenges that we have at their particular club. So they ask really, really good questions, and the questions to make you think, questions to help you improve, and questions to maybe even think of things a little bit differently than how you're currently viewing things. So when you look at boards as a whole, and we really do enjoy working with all the boards, they're lots of fun, and they generally bring a completely uniquely different perspective from what we do on a day-to-day basis. And by doing that, since they do be able to bring that uniquely different perspective, there's many a times the answer's in there somewhere. And not all of us think that we do have the answers to everything, but and more often than not, there's a nugget from here or a nugget from there that allows us to formulate a good possible solution. So, in summary, today we're talking about boards dynamics, board relations. Some of the things that we really discussed is boards set the strategy. They set the vision of the club. They set that vision of where they want to go, and then really it's management's responsibility is to figure out how to get there. The way that we do that is through a system of OKRs and lean management. We really believe extremely in lean management, and we set those objectives for the year. We set those key results of how we're actually going to measure those particular objectives, whether it's from golf maintenance, golf operations, food and beverage, banquets and events, membership as a whole, pool, tennis, fitness, spa, you name it, right down the road. We set all of those objectives and those key results for each of those areas that rolls up underneath the club as a whole, and then we keep on measuring what we treasure. The second is that the best boards look as management as partners, not as adversaries. And by doing that, they're unified with management. They can help management make better decisions. They can help management really run the club more effectively. And the third thing is that they leave the cliques. They leave the cliques behind. No fifth grade. There's no fifth grade that's out there. Those cliques are going behind. They work together as one unified team. And by doing that, they really are establishing, and I didn't talk about this earlier, but this is a very key point, is they are establishing the culture of the board. And this is very important. And if the culture of the board is outstanding, then the culture of the club really has a great opportunity to have an outstanding culture. If the culture of the club, if the culture of that board is toxic, the club itself unequivocally will be toxic. And you tell me if you can try to sell a membership to a new member to a toxic membership. Impossible. They may join because of the bricks and mortar, but they will leave in a very short amount of time because of the relationships that they have established in a timely fashion. You got to remember, like attracts like. So if your board is outstanding, they're unified, they get along, they can disagree, but in a very civil way, and point out and come to a common ground and come out and come to some great solutions together, then what winds up happening is the culture of the club just thrives. So again, no cliques. Number 4, loose lips sink ships. So there's a certain amount of confidential information that needs to just stay there with the board. Salary compensation, things along those factors. They communicate, they participate, they communicate everything that's happening, they communicate what is happening within the club itself, they communicate the direction, they are stalwarts with the communication, and they participate in the events and the activities. So not only can they provide great feedback, but in the same breath that they can drive the participation as well. And then finally, I find that the best board members unequivocally are mentors. They see their role as mentors, and they provide such great advice, great vision, great life stories to not only benefit the current board, but also benefit management and benefit the direction of the club. So hopefully you've picked up something that's been really very good. We do thoroughly enjoy working with the boards. They're our clients. It's something that we do that we live for. If there are challenges that you have at your club that you'd like some help with, or if your operation, your club is not doing the best where it should be, please don't hesitate to pick up the phone. Give us a call here at Up to Par Management. We would love to talk to you. We fix clubs. My name is Sean Taylor with Up to Par Management, and this is the board dynamics and relations portion of how to build a great club.